Good evening, co-learners, once again. To start the session of today, I would start it with a brief introduction about the Adhyapana and also the resource person. Adhyapana is an institute with an objective of enhancing professional excellence among stakeholders. The term Adhyapana means to facilitate learning. It is an organization renowned for its superior programs delivered by an enviable team of qualified and highly experienced experts found to be passionate, dedicated with a commitment to deliver to the real societal benefits. Our prime intent is to cater the career opportunities to people who could present themselves as an alternate talent source to the resource hungry organizations. We, as a team of Adhyapana, we have a list of activities we are involved into. Few of them to mention. For the organizations, corporate organizations, we have the quality management trainings, the trainings on interpersonal skills, communications, and IPR and consultancy. For academic institutions, we have accreditation training and consultancy, research training, subject domain training, IPR related training and consultancy, entrepreneurship development programs, soft skills and life skills for individuals and the faculties and the students together. And for the students, we have career guidance, vocational training, employability skills training programs, and along with the training and the individual support system, we also have a list of CSR activities. We have CSR in community services in terms of rural development, educating the senior citizens, and also the underprivileged sector of the society. This is a small introduction about Adhyapana, and moving forward to our resource person today, Dr. K. Srinivasa Rao sir. He is an associate professor in the Department of Commerce in a premier institute of Vivek Vardhini College of Arts, Commerce, Science and Postgraduate Studies, Osmania University, Hyderabad. Dr. Rao is a PhD from HNB Garhwal Central University, Srinagar, Uttarakhand, Department of Commerce in the year 2008. He has got 27 years of outstanding teaching and research experience at various levels. Dr. Rao has published 72 research papers at national and international repute journals, including the high impact factor journals, Scopus, UGC, Care List. Dr. Rao has presented 53 research papers at national and international conferences, have delivered many keynote addresses, and he was also a chairman, technical sessions, and also the resource person and a chief guest at inaugural addresses of several internationally reputed platforms. He has authored 4 books and guided several research scholars. Dr. Rao has submitted 2 research projects to the university UGC, that is University Grants Commission, and he has received 4 Best Teacher Awards for his excellence in academics. Dr. Rao is also member board of studies of commerce at Osmania University. He is also a resource person for various universities such as IGNOU, Ambedkar Open University, Annamalai University for management studies. There are a lot of accolades and awards to Dr. Rao. If I start talking about that, I'll have to take one session on that. So shorting his introduction, I would request Dr. Rao to please take over the session. Dr. Rao, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, madam, for your kind words. Thanks a lot. Good evening, all the participants from various parts of the country who is participating in this program. I'm really delighted, thankful to the Adhyapana and especially Dr. Mayaji, who is instrumental for this program, and really thankful to her for the opportunity. Also, I heard about Adhyapan, really wonderful work they are doing it, really commendable work they are doing it. So I really congratulate, and many more programs in the days to come they have to organize with all the blessings of the Almighty, and the many more programs have to conduct, and many more appreciations Adhyapan have to receive from various parts of the country, whoever is participating in this, associated with these programs. Thanks a lot for all the participants and also the organizers, especially Dr. Mayaji. Now, let us go into the details of for the today's topic, National Education Policy 2020. So just please bear with me for a few seconds. I will share this screen. Please post to disabled participant screen sharing. Kindly enable me to share the screen, please.
So you can share the screen now.
Okay, I will try. Yeah. Is it visible?
Sir.
Is the screen
Yes,
visible?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. 1 second. I hope the screen is visible and also audible, I hope.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible, please? Properly?
Yes, sir.
Right. Good.
Yes, sir.
Now, the topic today that we're going to discuss is that New Education Policy 2020, some perspectives of school education, higher education, and such. So here are the presentation I'd like to give in two parts. One is school education, I'll cover, and also higher education and related research. What the initiatives that are included are composed in the new educational policy, that all I will like to present before you. So when you talk about the presentation sketch, these are the things we would like to present before you, because new education policy, when you talk about, it's a big topic, and so many components are there to discuss, but because of the time constraints and all that, some areas, very important areas, have taken, and those areas would like to present before you in detail. As far as presentation sketch is concerned, going to be presented National Education Policy 2020, a vision towards India as Vishwaguru. One of the slides, first slide, we are going to see that about it. And a new education policy, a holistic approach. What about holistic approach? What does it mean and all that? What the new educational policy, how the new education policy has given a color of this holistic approach and all that. That we'll see that. A quick look on educational policy's evolution since its inception, how the educational policy is gone, evaluation, how it is taking place, and all that we'll see in one slide since its inception. And also, the new educational policy glimpses of for school education will take first of all, because the higher education, when you talk about to start the higher education and such, if you can neglect the school education, it's not appropriate to discuss about the higher education research. So that is why the school education, from school education only higher education and the research progress and all that will take place. So that way, first of all, we'll complete, I'll discuss a few points about the school education, all that important areas, and later we'll enter into the higher education research. After that, higher education structural changes proposed. What are the structural changes those are proposed in the higher education, in the national education policy, that will look into it. Also, you have the vocational education in higher education. So nowadays, the new educational policy has given a lot of importance to vocational education. Earlier, there were two streams, formal education and vocational education. Two different streams were there, but in this new educational policy, both are clubbed. So because vocational education is very important, has got a lot of importance. So that is why Government of India under the able Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, under his guidance, under his leadership, this new educational policy has designed in such a manner that everybody, all young people, should bring it to the either self-employment or any employment in other organizations. They have to be, once they complete the education and at any level, they can compete with those qualifications. They can survive on their own. Like that, the education policy has framed. It's wonderful. And after that, we will discuss in detail all those things. Next letter will move on to the vocational education, higher education, use of technology that we'll see, and how the technology is taking edge in higher education that we'll see. Outcome-based curriculum and assessment in higher education institutions, how it is taking place, and in the new education policy, what are the important components that are included to promote further and further. So that is one will take. After that, higher education and institutional changes. Institutional changes also, many institutional changes are made in the new education proposed in the new education policy. And we are going to experience all those things in the days to come, the years to come. And next, we'll see the higher education entry of foreign universities, global impact. Probably the foreign universities also going to emerge. Already some universities have emerged in the country. And now this new education policy enabling the foreign universities to establish their campuses in our country. That we'll see in detail in those aspects in that particular slide and on that. Next, new education policy structure, reforms in research. That's what now, if you come to the research areas, research is also very important nowadays. And without research, the teaching cannot be inputs, cannot be delivered to the students. The proper units, inputs, if you want to deliver to the students, means the one should carry on the research also along with the academics. That is must. And only the proper education inputs can be delivered to the students time to time. So that is why research is very important, and that we'll discuss in that. Next, you have National Research Foundation. For research, there is a separate, the foundation has been established, proposed, and it is in the process of establish. That is what we call National Research Foundation. And what are the points under that, and what are the components that are included in that we'll see. Similarly, you have the next one, challenges to come across in various levels of NGP. What are the challenges? Of course, there are many things that are composed in the national education policy, but equally and simultaneously, some challenges for every initiative, challenges definitely will take place. So here also, the national education policy having certain challenges in the course of the implementation of national education policy. So probable challenges, what are the probable challenges that are going to be experienced in the wake of the national education policy implementation, or that we'll see it in that slide. Next, you have another important point, changes to come across in various levels of NGP. And then NGP role of faculty is very important under the national education policy. What the faculty has to do, what are the responsibilities of the faculty? At the same time, the institutions also have to perform certain important, the responsibilities and duties. So you cannot imagine the national education policy implementation neglecting the faculty or neglecting the institutions. The institutions are based, and faculty are very, very important, the components of the implementation, the process of implementation of national education policy. That is the reason the responsibilities of the faculty, the role of the faculty, and also the institution's role, both we'll discuss in this. Now, let us move on to the next slide. See here, you can see here, National Education Policy Vision towards India as a Vishwaguru. Yes, India is a Vishwaguru. There is no doubt about it. It's not the new thing today. And it's way back, some hundreds, thousands of years back only, India is the country used to learn other world countries about the traditions. Because we are proud to be feel as Indians, because we have rich culture with us and rich traditions that we have. And we know how to behave with the people in the associations, in the society, how to behave with others. All these, the ethics, morals are originated here in India. So all these things, ethics, morals, traditions, customs, culture, all these things used to learn from India. People used to come from different parts of the country to learn about the culture, traditions, and all the way back. It's not now the rich culture that has come now. It's not like that. It's way back. So that means you can understand India is a great country. So in ancient way back, if you see, there are many universities. There are 8 universities are there. So these are all old universities used to give excellent inputs how to live in the society, the culture, traditions, and the various ethics, morals, values, all these things. These universities are the origins used to propagate or used to educate people from various parts of the world. Say, for example, Nalanda University, Takshashila, Vikramshila, right? And you have the Vallavi, and you have Somapura, and Jagadala, Kodantapuri, and Pushpagiri. These are all the very famous universities in those days only. So these universities used to teach to the people whoever comes from various parts of the world, the values, ethics, and the culture, traditions, and all that. So that's what I told you. You can understand the richness, the beauty of India, and the culture that we have today. The people various countries used to come and learn from us. So that is the greatness that we have. And if you see the uphold traditions, culture, values, ethics, morals, respect towards the fundamental rights that we have, is a freedom to talk to all. All of us know fundamental rights, how effectively we can exercise in India. And India is a unique. So many, religions, and equitable. Kindly mute. Equitable in the sense of fair and impartial education should be given. It should be accessible to all the people in the country. That is the main motive of our national education policy. That is why this national education policy is proposed. Taking into consideration equitable means it should be given fair education, whether you are in a rural or in a urban or semi-urban, wherever you are, remote areas, everybody should get the education, quality education. So that education should give not only for the survival of the person, employment and all that, but at the same time, that person should come up with values, should learn about the values, ethics, morals, and all that. All these things, if a person learns, that is what we call holistic approach. That is what we call holistic approach. So that holistic approach is included in the national education policy. It's not that only the curriculum and all that. Along with the curriculum, employment is protected, ensured. Along with the employment, ethics, morals are also very important. Character building is very important. You are in a very good position tomorrow, in a big employment that you have, say for example. But without morals and ethics, if you don't know the culture, traditions, and all that, if you don't carry, then it is of no use. So that is why all those components are included. And nationalism is very most important. Nationalism, values, ethics, traditions, and all that along with the curriculum. These all components are included. That is why holistic approach, this is called holistic approach, is ensured in the national education policy. And you have the vibrant knowledge society. So when you learn, when a candidate, when a student learn, when a young generation learns all these things, what happens? Knowledge, vibrant knowledge you will acquire. Knowledge is very important today because people talk about we're all living in a knowledge society. Knowledge society, when you are in without skills, it's of no use. And people says that, and there is it is fact also, and India is the youngest country in the world countries in the years to come by 2025. So when the youngest country means young population percentage is more when you compare with the other countries. So if young population is a demographic dividend for the country, us, for India. So this demographic dividend we have to make use properly. How to make use properly? Skills are to be enhanced. Skills are to be properly equipped with by the young people. So if they are equipped with the skills and all that, if they are equipped with the knowledge, skills and all that, creative thinking, critical thinking, all these things are equipped, all these components are equipped by the young generation, then what happens? That young India can create whatnot. It can create whatnot, and people will come to us and they will learn many things from us. Already that process has begun and started well in the process of it. So these are all things that have happened. These are all included in the national education policy. This national education policy is not just like that, it is not implemented. There's a lot of, because so many components are there. It is making the person as a holistic development, a holistic approach. It is taken into consideration. It's not just the employment point of view or some self-employment, not like that. A holistic development, which includes what I told you is ethics, morals, values, traditions, culture, and along with the employability and all that. All these components are included. So that is the reason, that is the beauty of national education policy. Excellent, wonderful. The only thing is it has to implement appropriately. If it is implemented, so many institutions are also there. We'll discuss all those things in the coming slides. So when it is implemented in an appropriate manner, and it is already started, and definitely there's no doubt about it. And Honorable Prime Minister also assured the funds are not a problem at all. And the only thing is, it is the responsibility of the institutions, responsibility of the faculty that we have today. It is their hands, it is on their shoulder. So that is why these institutions can make it.
I request all the participants to please mute yourself.
Proposed is high quality education. High quality is proposed, high quality should be given. Not if, to the urban area people or to the rural area people. Even remote areas people also should get what sin they committed. Everyone should get quality education today. So that is the reason kept in mind, and the draft has prepared the national education policy. So it's a wonderful and beauty of the national education policy. That is why. So bonding with one's country, nationalism is very important. That's what I talked about. So instill skills, and you have the other important point what I told you, values and all that. These are all very important aspects. Okay. Next, if you go into the other details, and here we have overall development when you talk about, and then you have another important key principles of national education policy. So when you see this overall development, what I told you, explained you, just submitted before you, learning, holistic, integrated, enjoyable, engaging. The education should be enjoyable. With all enjoyment, engage is very important. One should engage in the learning process. Then only he will learn many things and he will implement. So that engagement is very, very important. So it is the institution's responsibility, it is the faculty responsibility to implement the national education policy, that the student should engage. Students should engage in the learning process. That is most important. So that what has composed in it. And you have the holistic, integrated, enjoyable, engaging, all these things should be done. And next you have specialized in one of the domains and having awareness about all domains. It's not that one domain. You can take any subject. It is freedom given to the autonomy is given to the students. Buckets Means you can choose any subject, any the choice of subjects you can take, and you can learn from it. And there are also flexibility, a lot of flexibility also given, even the learning process. A lot of flexibility also given. In detail, we'll see in the coming slides. Outcome-based curriculum, assessment in higher education. Outcome is very important for employment purpose, for stand on the candidate on his own. The outcome is very important. Simply, if you study a degree, acquired a degree, the degree, if it is not helpful for getting employment or for other opportunities, or to make him a holistic development, if the education is not given, outcome-based education is not there, and the curriculum is not designed as such, then what happens is of no use. The young country and all that is of no use. So that is why it is taken into consideration. The NEP has built this component, effectively taken into consideration very seriously. The curriculum that is going to implement is outcome-based curriculum, and assessment in higher education also will be done on the basis of skills that are acquired. The assessment will be done not by putting some exam question and answers, as now we are following, that will go over a period of time, and the skill-based assessment will be there. What skills he has learned, on that the assessment will be done. Peers will be there. So all those peers, there are 3 stages of the peers will be there in the school education. The parents will be will assess, and also the student self-assessment will be there. Society assessment also will be there. Society participants who also in society, whoever is there, their assessment also will be there. All these 3 assessments put together, the assessment, grading, and all that will be given. This is how beautiful it is. And the curriculum also, according to the regional regional requirements, the curriculum also will be designed as such. The regional opportunity, the regional requirements will be taken into consideration. On the basis of that, the curriculum is going to be designed. And India is a diversified society, hence inclusive education is a basic responsibility for the overall development. Inclusive education means everybody should come into the education stream. Everybody should access the education, quality education. Access means it's not that not quality education. It's a quality education for access for everybody. The rich people only can join in international schools and all that nowadays. But for poor people and all that, nowadays people are joining in government schools and all that. But this has to go even government and private, both. Even now also the private institutions will be there. But both the institutions as far as quality is concerned, now it will give a lot of importance. There is no degradation of the private institution. There will be no quality difference between private and public. That will be taken care of. And access, equity, quality, and all that I already explained. Accessibility is very important. Equity, equality in education accessing is also very important. Quality education should get everyone. That is all are going to take place. Next, you have NEP is a knowledge paradigm. So it gives the NEP is focus knowledge-based curriculum, knowledge-based, skill-based curriculum, outcome-based curriculum will be going to be taking shape. So that is most important, which is required and need of the hour today. So that is why these components are given in this integrated curriculum. Integrated curriculum in the sense all. That's what I told. A bucket of choice will say it is the choice of the student can choose, can pick any subjects. So then accordingly he can pursue. For example, a commerce student, if he wants to study mathematics, he can take, or zoology if he wants to study, or zoology student, or engineering student, if he wants to study, or if he is interested about the sociology, public administration, he can get it. He can pursue it. So the choice is, as far as choice is concerned, a lot of autonomy has given to the student, and a lot of autonomy has given to the institutions also. So this is a great initiative as far as autonomy is concerned to the students, so that it helps the students very effectively and over a period of time. So next, when you come to the key principles of NEP, if you see the respect for the respect for diversity and the local context. That's what I told. Local context is very important. Local requirements, local language, regional languages will be protected. People are in fear. What is that? The mother tongue may go, because if NDP implemented, mother tongue will be protected. There is no question of removing the mother tongue. All mother tongues, either Kannada or Telugu or Tamil or whatever, or Hindi, whatever it is choice, and it will be protected. Mother tongue will be protected. Right? There is no question of removing it. That will be taken care and that will be protected. And it will be mandatory also up to 8th, up to 6th standard or 8th standard. It is mandatory. Can pursue their studies in mother tongue, because the children, their mother tongue, if they teach in the schools, if they teach in mother tongue, their perception will be good. So that is why mother tongue will be protected. It is not at all removable. It will not remove, and it is not suggested also in NGP. NGP is supported. Mother language, the mother tongue and regional languages are supported in the national education policy. And you have the bagless concept, gardeners, carpenters, potters. 10 days or in the during the curriculum time, the students will take to the gardeners, students will take to the carpenters, potters, and they will, students after approaching them, they will learn by seeing how a potter is making, how a carpenter is making the goods, and different goods, how he is making, and how he is, what are the experiences he is having. All those things, grassroots level, the student will be taken along with the teacher faculty, and there the student directly will learn all those things with the gardeners, with the carpenters, supporters. It is a part of the education in the learning process. 6 to 8 years it is going to implement it. Next, you have community participation is very important. Community participation means in the society, whoever is there, the elders. So their participation is also very important. Their supervision, their the knowledge is very important. So that has to be, all those inputs will be taken, and that the curriculum will be moved. So community participation also play a vital role in that. That also their perception, their knowledge also will be taken into consideration. Similarly, you have use of technology. Nowadays, we are all experiencing the technology. Because of technology, we are enjoying many things today, because we are conducting session now is because of the technology. So even you are at your home and I am at my home, and we are taking that here. How many are there? There are more than around 100 people are on the platform. So how beautiful it is. So these are all happening because of the technology. So the technology, whatever technology is available to us, we need to adopt it. We need to upgrade it. We need to adopt and implement it for the betterment of the higher education, school education, even for research also. So this is compulsory, and that is taken care of. And you have to emphasize the conceptual understanding. This is most important. See, conceptual. See, if today this situation is pathetic. Sometimes, if you see the students, if any candidate come to the interview, if you ask a basic question, they are not in a position to answer. Why? Because they are fast. They are 95%, 100%, 99%, 98% regard. But if you ask a basic question with regard to their own domain, either it is accountancy, finance, or any management, or any sciences, physics or chemistry, basic question if you ask, they are unable to answer. It may be knowledge gap, and it may be the communication gaps also will be there. Knowledge also will be. The conceptualization is lacking. Because of the lack of conceptuality, what is happening? Marks will come. It is because it's only question and answer. Question, some 20 questions, 30 questions. Nowadays, people will by heart it and they will write. What they will come, the same questions will come. They will write in total, and they will get 95%. But the point is, where the candidate is having the conceptuality, that is most important. But in this national education policy, conceptualization is important. It's not that how many books, how many marks that you have. Marks are not given importance. Marks also give importance, but at the same time, conceptualization. The assessment will be made on the basis of this conceptualization. of the candidate, how much conceptualization he is having. On those basis, on that basis, the assessment on that will be done. Similarly, you have critical thinking, creative thinking. All these things are very, very important nowadays because we are talking about robotics, machine learning, IoT, Internet of Things. These are all things, machine learning, all these things are new technology, innovations we're not talking about. If you neglect these areas, my dear, please listen all the participants. If you neglect as a faculty, as a participant, as a student, whoever, even including me, I am not this, I'm also faculty, and I should also adopt and equip, and I have to update myself. Otherwise, it is not possible in the days to come. You on the faculty. Faculty, first of all, should equip the technology innovations along that in our mind. We should equip. Then only we can deliver appropriately correct goods to the correct inputs to the students, so that the students will come up in their life. So that is why we are the role models. We have to equip all those things. So that is why the critical thinking, creative thinking, these all can be implemented. The curriculum will be included. The critical thinking and creative thinking and all that. See, the creative thinking, critical thinking, when the student is engaged in his particular domain, in his particular learning process, if he is engaged, then only the critical thinking, creative thinking will. Otherwise, how it is possible? So engagement is very important. Engagement creates creativity. It gives the creative, analytical thinking and all that. So these are all associated with research also. So that is why the research is nothing but creative thinking, critical thinking. So that has to develop. So that is given more importance in this, the national education policy. Similarly, you have another important aspect, which is a quick look on education policy and its evolution. If you see the way back, since 1948-49, if you see, University Education Commission was established in the year 1948-49. Later, Secondary Education Commission was there in 1952-53. Thereafter, Education Commission 1964-66 under the leadership of Dr. D.S. Kothariji, and National Policy Education from there. National Policy on Education 1968 was there. And also after that, you have 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, education in concurrent list. So concurrent list means it was the both state and central will look after the education. This is in 1976 onwards, it is included in the concurrent list. So the state and central both having the authority to whether for modifications or bringing the education policies time to time according to the requirements of the market and according to the requirements of the society. The education policy generally will go on taking modifications about that. So that the initiative 1976 in the concurrent list has been included. Since then, state and central are working together. National policy on education. Later, thereafter, National Policy on Education (NPE) 1986 was there. After that, NPE 1986, National Policy Education modified. The above 1986 policy has been modified in the year 1992. Program of Action 1992. Okay. After that, you have the TSR Subramaniam Committee report, 27th May 2016 was appointed. After later on, Dr. Kasturi Rangan Committee constituted June 2017, submitted report 31st of May 2019. These are the changes gradually taking place in the education system. Now let us come on to the school education and its implementation. Now, in the school education, you have the old system, existing present system, and the new academic structure, new education, according to new educational policy. Here I have given two bars here, so you can observe it clearly. And here, if you check it, the point is this side, the existing is, all of you, 10 years, 2 years, 3 years. By the time 3 years degree completed, he will attend 20 years like that. And here in the new academic structure, if you see, 3 years, 3 years at the age of 3, so the student will join, the candidate will join at the age of 3. That is foundational, and 3 years will be there. So that 2 years, that is class 1 and 2 will be engaged here. The age is 6 to 8. By the time 8 years he attained, then the foundational level will be complete, 6 to 8. Later from there, 3 years, that means 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now 5 years will come under foundational. That is 3 years, 2 years. What 3 years and 2 years I will explain you in detail. So 3 years after that, that is 8 to 11. 8 to 11, if you see, that is 3 years. That 3 years during the age of 8 to 11. And next after that, that is preparatory stage. That is what we call preparatory stage. And then 3 years, 6 to 8 classes, 6 to 8 he will complete during the age of 11 to 14. Okay, that is about middle stage. That is what we call middle stage. After that, we have secondary. In that secondary, 4 years, that is the 4 years, that is class 9 to 12 during the age of 14 to 18. Now, this is the structure which is given. Now, let us see this structure in detail. Child formal education starts. That's what I told you. At the age of 3, formal education starts. Okay, foundational, under foundation. The structure, what I explained you now, 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Corresponding ages also I explained you. 3, 8, 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, and 14 to 18. Okay. Next one is ECCE, Early Child Care Education. That is ECCE. Early child care education will be taken into consideration in the foundational stage in 3 years. 3 years means 3 years to 6 years. During that age, this ECCE will be implemented. What does it mean? Early child care education, which is called Anganwadi, preschool. Preschool will be completed between 3 to 6 years. 3 years, at the age of 3 years, he will join. From 3 to 6 years, this ECCE structure will be completed. So this structure will be looked after by Anganwadi workers. Preschool, this is what we call preschool. Here, what they will teach in these 3 years, what they will teach? They teach about the identification of different, the figures, numbers, and the language also will learn, and also different play games and different figures they will give, and they will ask them to identify all these things, because the perception levels at that age, the children are having good perception levels. So that is why this has been designed. After that, what I told you in the previous also, mother tongue up to 8th class will be protected. Mother tongue will not be removed. Some people are in fear. Mother tongue will be removed. Only we have to take the English and Hindi. It's not like that. Mother tongue of different states, we have the beauty in our country. Every state is having mother tongue, a separate mother tongue. It is unique. You can find, you don't find this type of uniqueness in any other country of the world. So that is only, it is only for India. Every state, Tamil Nadu is having Tamil, Karnataka is having Kannada, and Telugu states have Telugu, and so many, like Kerala, they are having Kerala language, Malayalam, and all that. So this is the beauty of the different states having different languages. All the languages will be protected. That taken appropriate care has been taken in the national education policy. So that is most important. So assessment will be made. As far as assessment is concerned, self-assessment, that's what I told you in the previous slides. Self-assessment and peer assessment, assessment by the teacher. Peer assessment means community assessment. Self-assessment means student on his own. How many skills he has equipped, how many skills he learned. He can also assess, and he can give his opinion. and at the same time peer assessment also will be taken. How society, community is feeling about a particular student, about on the basis of skills that he has learned. They will also assess and will give. Usually parents will be there, okay, in the peer assessment. And assessment by teacher. Teachers also anyhow, because they are teachers every day, they interact with the students and they teach to the students. That is their assessment also. So here, three important assessments will be done, will be taken into consideration for grading, for giving, for awarding the grade and all that. So that is very, very important aspect. And you have 360 degrees progress card on overall assessment. 360 degrees progress card means holistic development. On the basis of the overall development, only the grading will be given. It's not that just like that the grading will not be given. So all these assessments will be taken into consideration, and on the basis of that, the grading will be provided. Next, you have another important point: secondary stage classes. If you see in 9 to 12, up to 8, we have seen in the previous slide. 9 to 12 during the age of the 14 to 18 age. So multidisciplinary study, greater critical thinking, flexibility, and student subject choice. That's what I told you in the previous class, in the previous slides. What is that flexibility? Greater autonomy is going to give to the students to select different subjects. There are buckets of subjects will be there. It is his choice to select certain whatever according to his interest. So multidisciplinary study is going to be promoted. That is most important nowadays. So there is no need to upset. I have joined in commerce stream, but I am interested in mathematics. But now in the present situation, a commerce student cannot pursue the mathematics, or an engineering student cannot pursue the commerce stream. Commerce, one of the subjects are commerce stream. So that choice that is not possible now. But in the new educational policy, it is the choice of greater autonomy has given to the student. It is his choice to select the subjects according to his interest, and he can go through it. And that is very, very important point. Holistic and multidisciplinary educational flexibility of subjects. That's what. Two, if you want to achieve the holistic development of the student, if you want to ensure the holistic development of the student, multidisciplinary education is a must. So that is why greater flexibility as far as subjects choosing is concerned, it is given. So the autonomy is given to the students. It is their choice. So that is why then only a multidisciplinary, holistic approach, overall development we can expect. Right? That is one important aspect. Multiple entry and exit. And we have here there are multiple exit and entry. When you are joining a particular, the program, you can, if you want to, because of some reasons, financial reasons or any other personal reasons, if a student is not in a position to complete the further studies, he can stop after 1 year or 2 years, he can stop, and later he can continue also. If he stop 1 year, a certificate will be given. And if he stop, say for example, if a student is stopped his studies because of various reasons in the second year, diploma certificate will be given, and after 3 years, bachelor degree program will be given. After 4 years, if he complete 4 years, then he will give a bachelor degree with a research degree will be given. So here, academic bank credits also, ABC, also play very important role. How it is, what is this? Academic bank credit means, for example, if a student is studied up to only first year, then and he stopped because of certain reason. Then during the first year, whatever credits he earned, all those credits will be preserved in the academic bank credits. And whenever after 2 years, say for example, if you want to continue the studies after the second year and third year, fourth year, if you want to study, then he can continue, and the first year credits will be added to the second year. If you want to continue from second year, the first year already completed some 2 years back, 3 years back, those credits will be taken into consideration in continuation to the second year and third year. He can continue. That is the beauty of the national education policy. You can stop anywhere, free entry and free exit. Anytime you can exit. You can enter anytime, and you can exit anytime because of reasons, of personal reasons and all that. So bachelor degree 3 years of program is certificate. In every stage of completion, 1 year, 2 year, 1 year completion, 2 years completion, 3 years completion, every stage, every level of completion, the student will get appropriate certificate. So with that, he can join in any organization, for example, or on his own, he can start any self-employment or something like that. It is the chance that is given. So here, what I told you is that arts, commerce, social sciences, everything is mixed. That's what I told you. Bucket of subjects will be there. It is a choice of him. You can pick. The student can pick one art subject, one the science subject, one commerce subject he can pick, and he can move forward, and he can pursue his studies for the graduation like that. So that flexibility is given in this. That is one thing. And next you have the new educational policy 2020 focus on higher education. From here onwards, I have given importance to the higher education because the school education we have covered to some extent. Many points we have covered. I feel the many points we have covered, and we have also covered. We have to cover also the higher education research also, because in the stipulated time, the time constraints are there now. So we cannot give you. We cannot. I cannot present you all the details of school education because of time constraints. So we have to cover all the points related to school education, related to higher education, related to research also. That is why from here, this slide onwards, the research points are given. Now, higher education present status, if you see, there are some statistics also I mentioned for your convenience, for your understanding better. There are 53,620 higher education institutions and universities in the country. 53,620. However, the situation is 3.5 crore students only pursuing higher education, which is equaling 25% only from school education. That means you can understand whoever is coming out from the school education, 100% they are not pursuing the higher education. They are not joining in the higher education system. So that means only 25%. Say for example, 100 students comes from school education. Out of that, only 25 students are joining, pursuing, or showing interest towards the higher education. So this percentage has to increase, improve in the days to come. That is taken very seriously. And every year, 8 lakhs graduates are coming out from the engineering stream, but not even pathetic situation. 50% getting employed. Not even 50%. Not even 50%. Let us say 50% also if you take, how many are respectable salary they are getting? That is a big question mark. An engineering student means naturally that candidate is having more skills and all. We feel always engineering student will be like that. But the situation is he is working for 10,000, 50,000, not less than 20,000. So sometimes 5,000, 7,000 also some students, some candidates are working for engineering graduation, BTech completed students. They are joining in the call centers and all that. So that means what you can understand, what we have to understand is skills are lacking. The big issue is the skills. If you don't have skills, who will take? Who will give you? Who will give you 50,000? Who will accommodate you? And nobody can. No, employment is not that easy in private organizations. Government not in a position to accommodate all the people. Government jobs are not nowadays. Public sector and government sector, the employment position is not up to the mark. In the sense that government cannot provide to the employment to everybody. So that is why either the candidate has to stand on his own with the self-employment, or otherwise he has to join in some organization. So if you want to join some organization, private organizations or government organizations, especially private organizations, they give more salary, no doubt about it, but they look for quality, skills, creative thinking, quality education, and the creativity, innovative, critical thinking. All these things are very important. Knowledge they test. It's not the certificate they require. Private institutions don't want the certificates. Certificate they will take a later stage to file it. That's all. But they will ask you to execute some work will be given to execute. If you are unable to execute, even if you get 95%, even if you got 95% in your education, it's of no use, because you are not according to the requirement of those companies, those private requirements. So the requirements are very important. So the students or the candidates or the children should equip the latest technology, the requirements, market demand. According to market demand, they have to come up. That is most important. So that is the reason 8 lakhs graduates are coming out every year in engineering, but even 50% not even getting employment. That is a very, very pathetic situation because of the engineering colleges also a lack of the infrastructure facilities, including faculty. The faculty also not up to the mark, and other labs and all that very important for engineering. Labs are not available. How they will learn the skills and all that, how they will equip the skills. So that is the reason unemployment is a big problem, and they are not in a position to get the employment and all that. And there are only 6 Indian higher education institutes, out of which 5 IITs and IISc Bangalore is placed in between 300 to 500. Even these institutes also ranked between 300 to 500. Very reputed institutions. IISc Bangalore is a reputed one, and I have 5 IITs in the country. Or even these institutions also world ranking, if you see, between 300 to 500, these institutions are placed. That means you have to understand the procedure of the process of learning, process of teaching, process of research that is engaged in the curriculum is to be, it is to take into consideration very seriously. So these lackings are addressed in the national education policy effectively. So in the days to come, all these lackings will be fulfilled, and it will be addressed effectively, and the curriculum also will be designed as such. So THE, Times of Higher Education, is one of the agency which is group announced the Time group, the group announced worldwide ranking in this year 2020. So according to that, the above ranking 300 to 500, these premier institutions, reputed institutions took place. And next, when you see institutions to be initiated under the national education policy, there are many institutions. Many institutions are required to implement the national education policy. What are the education? What are the institutions that are proposed? Means NTA, National Testing Agency, will conduct a common entrance examination for admission to B.Ed. National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHERC, going to be proposed to function as a single point regulator for higher education sector, including teacher education also. Right? This is one institute going to be initiated. All these institutions are in the process of implementation. Right? It is going to be a process of implementation, and it is already started. Work has already been started for the initiation of that. NCPF, National Center for Pedagogical Framework, going to be implemented, initiated, and setting up of a national mission for mentoring with large pool of outstanding, the senior retired faculty. These are all very important. Retired people, senior people are very important to motivate, to mentor the young children, or to guide them onto the proper track, to bring them onto the proper track. This mentoring is very, very important. Mentoring, counseling is very, very important. That will be given a greater care in this national education policy and its implementation. And you have NCTE, National Council for Teacher Education, will be restructured, going to be restructured that. And you have Professional Standard Setting Body, PSSB, under General Education Council, GEC. It is also going to be initiated, taking shape in the days to come. Teacher eligibility test, TETs, for all teachers will be initiated. This, right? These are the institutions, and also going to be initiated. Higher education structural changes. What are the structural changes? Those are proposed in the higher education. If you see the statistics, gross enrollment ratio is proposed to reach, targeted to reach 50%. Present right now, it is only 26.3%. Is only gross enrollment ratio is 26.3%. But by 2035, it is targeted to reach this 26.3 is targeted to reach 50% minimum 2035. That was one of the target, and we're all there to make it success. Okay, as a institution, the faculty, our role is most important. That's what I explained in the beginning. Holistic, multidisciplinary education, flexibility of subjects at the undergraduate level, which possess critical 21st capacities. Such 21st century is a knowledge century. So it is the autonomy. That's what I told you. Given flexibility will be given to the students, subjects at an undergraduate level. It is according to the interest of the students. The subjects can be chosen and they can pursue. Multiple entry and exit, we already discussed. UG program 3 or 4 years, multiple exit entry with appropriate certificate. That's what I mentioned in the previous slides also. 2 years master's degree who complete 3 UG degree, 3 years undergraduate degree, whoever is completed. For that candidate, master's degree as usual 2 years will be there. And second year completely in the post graduation, second year completely research orientation will be given to him. Okay. Similarly, you have 4-year degree with research. Will take 1 year. If whoever is completed 4 years postgraduate, 4 years degree, for them the post graduation, if a candidate wish to complete postgraduate after completion of 4 years degree, then for him it is the post graduation is going to be 1 year only. 1 year only. Similarly, you have 5 years integrated PG, bachelor's, master's program, integrated PG, bachelor's PG program also is there. It is according to their interest. People, students can join and pursue. Then this is all about. Next, you have another important, the information, which is the higher education structural changes proposed in continuation for undertaking PhD in continuation after the post graduation. Undertaking PhD shall require either a master's degree 4 years or bachelor's degree with research 4 years, right? Or master's degree means 2 years master's degree, 3 years with 2 years master degree. At least he has to acquire, or otherwise 4 years with a research degree if he acquire. Then he can join directly to PhD pursuing. Similarly, in that case, what happens? MPhil today we're all it is there, but the MPhil will be discontinued. There will be no MPhil from here after. Okay, because research is already introduced in the 4-year degree. 4th year is given priority to the degree. In that case, what happens? The MPhil, they thought that case not necessary because it's already introduced in the 4-year degree. So that is why MPhil hereafter there is no MPhil. It is going to be discontinued. MERUs, these are very, very important universities, multidisciplinary education research universities, multidisciplinary education research universities on par with IITs, and IIMs to attain global standards. How IIMs and IITs are working today with all quality and all that, these MERU, multidisciplinary education research universities which are proposed in the national education policy, going to be designed with all multidisciplinary activities in the days to come. These are all, as far as quality is concerned, these MERUs, these multidisciplinary education research universities, for district, one MERU is proposed. One district in the country, in each district, one MERU is proposed. So these MERUs are on par as far as standards, quality is concerned, education is concerned. It is on par with IITs and IIMs. Next, you have academic bank credits. I told you already, we have stopped at any level, then the credits will be whatever he completed the years of course. For that, the credits will be deposited in DigiLocker, and whenever he wants to, he wish to continue further after some days or some months or some years. If he candidate wants to continue, then the previous academic credits also will be taken into consideration at the time of continuation of the programs. That is one important. It's a very good flexibility to the candidates. Sometimes because students, children sometimes because of many reasons they are unable to, because of income, the financial problems and all that, they're unable to continue. So for them, after some years, 1 year or 2 years again, their income levels will be improved and they wish to continue. So they can continue at any time. So whatever is completed earlier, that those credits will be taken into consideration, and the further studies can be continued along with this previous credits. There is no problem at all, and there is no damage to the student as far as 1 year completion or 2 years completion is not a problem for him. He can continue. That is why entry and exit I explained. That is the same. So teaching intensive autonomous degree and granting colleges. So the point is here now you have to understand is that the universities and we have colleges, affiliated colleges are there, universities are there. Universities are nowadays what they are doing is they are taking the assignment of teaching and research also. Both they are doing. So that is why, because of that, what's happening in research sometimes because of lack of time with curriculum and all that, university, the professors, faculty, because of the lack of time for what? Because they are concentrating on academics. So the research activities unable to take them, carrying with them equally. So that is why the national education policy is given importance to the universities are going to be associated with the research activities. All teaching activity will be entrusted or will be transferred to the teaching into autonomous and degree colleges, granting colleges. The teaching assignments will be given to the autonomous colleges and all that. The universities are especially for research activities, curriculum design and other research activities. They will take care of universities. That is going to happen. And you have all higher education institutions will become multidisciplinary institutions by 2040. 2040 is the target. So by that time, all the institutions and one set of the NGP implementation, whoever is in the process of this process will come out by 2040. All full length, all will be implemented, and full length by 2040, everything will be implemented on par with the. It will come on to the track by that time. All higher education institutions will be converted into multidisciplinary institutions. Okay, that is most important. High performing Indian universities will be encouraged to set up campuses in the country, in other countries. For example, in our country, there are many universities performing high, excellent target, excellent quality of education. They are providing ranking. They are acquiring good ranks in the world ranking. They are, if our universities gets good ranking and all that, they will be permitted. Indian the government will permit them to establish campuses in other countries also. And other countries' universities also, the prominent 100 universities, quality universities, 100 quality universities among overall in the world, in the total in the entire world, 100 universities will be given the chance to open their campuses in the country, in this country. So that what happens, it's a big advantage to our Indian students, because Indian students, they want to pursue studies, higher studies. If they want to pursue, they have to go all the way to Germany, France, US, those countries. All the way they have to move from India. But here, once those reputed institutions are established their campuses and open their campuses in India, there is no need to go other countries for pursuing higher education. Our students no need to go other countries, okay, because their campuses are established in this country. So that because of that, what happens? Foreign currency will be protected. There is no foreign currency will not be can be stopped to that level. And all the education expenditure, whatever education expenditure the students incurs, that will come to in the form of the income to the government sector, and these are all advantages that will take place. If other universities in other countries, the universities are open campuses in our country, and competition also among Indian universities and foreign universities, competition also will increase, and the quality will increase in turn, and that will help a lot to the younger generations in the country. That is one thing. And next you have another important NEP teacher education, if you see, which is very important aspect. What is given here is that teacher education will be transformed by 2030. So all these teacher education institutions are going to be converted as multidisciplinary colleges and universities. That's what in the previous slide also I submitted before you. By 2030, all the teacher education also is going to be multidisciplinary colleges and universities. Autonomy will be given to them. And presently, 3-year degree, 2-year BEd that we have been seeing it. Multidisciplinary higher education institutions offering 4-year in class integrated BEd also it is there, and proposed, and 4-year degree plus 1-year BEd integrated is there, and the minimum degree qualification for teaching at local schools 4 years. So 1 year they have to teacher education, whoever is pursuing, they have to pursue 1 year, 4th year they are supposed to take the experience in the local schools. Means they have to go to the schools and they have to teach in the local schools. Then only after completion of the successful completion of 1 year teaching in the local schools, then they get 4-year integrated BEd. This in full length it will be implemented, and it will take full length it will be implemented by 2030. Minimum 50 hours in service training per teacher is compulsory. It is made it compulsory. That means every candidate minimum 50 hours in service training is compulsory. New national curriculum framework for teacher education will be framed from this year only. It is going to be implemented, and it is in the process, and it is already the framework has started. Now, another important point is that vocational education in higher education. This vocational education is very important, because the employability is important, because everybody, our younger generation should get employment, or either self-employment, or they have to get employment in other organizations. This is most important for survival as far as survival is concerned. Education with employment is also very important. Of course, holistic development, ethics, morals, values, traditional cultures is all important. That will be there, and at the same time, survival and all that, for standing on his own. This vocational, the self-employment, or making the industry, making the student industry requirement is very important. So that is why vocational education is taken into consideration and is going to be implemented from 6th class onwards. From 6th class onwards, vocational education and formal education or vocational education will club now, and will take track. As per the 12th five-year plan, it was less than 5% informal vocational education, only 5%. So this has to be improved a lot. When you see the other countries, formal education between 19 to 24 age group, that is probably 12th plan. If you see the statistics of other countries, as far as this vocational education percentage is concerned, we have only 5%, but in USA it was 52%, Germany 75%, South Korea developed and so many innovations. They are known for innovations and creative things. 96% students are engaged in vocational. That is why the creativity and skills and employment is not a problem. So 96%. We have only 5% of vocational education that we have today in India. So this has to be improved. That is why vocational education has given a lot of importance. Vocational education is integrated to all schools, into all schools and higher education, and school education institutions in a phased manner over the next decade. Okay, NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework, which is going to be established, and this will test the skills of the students under this framework. And by 2025, at least 50% students shall have to exposure to the vocational education. That is the target. By 2025, minimum at least 50% of the students should have to expose to the vocational education, so that what happens, we can minimize the employment problem. Self-employment will be generated. There will be self-employment will be created on their own, and they can survive. So here, when you see again the statistics, USA 52%, Germany already we have discussed and it is repeated. Yeah, 96% South Korea having vocational skill orientation they have. And NCIVE, National Committee for Integration of Vocational, a pool of experts will be there in that. They will guide time to time. They will recommend time to time for the changes and modifications which are going to take place. Next, you have national education use of technology. This is technology is playing a vital role in the education today. So that is why the technology also national education policy has taken care of it, and it is included in a big manner to access all the students, to all the students, to enable the technology easily. Like that, it is framed. Use of technology in teaching, learning, and assessment. Use of technology in administration, management. Not only one domain, every domain. You can see the technology. You can see any domain without technology. Nowadays, we don't see any domain of areas. So administration, whether it is administration, management, or teaching, learning, you name any domain. Increasing access to disadvantaged groups. So disadvantaged groups also can be accessed with the help of technology. That is the greatness of the technology. So that is why technology edge has to be taken care. So the friendly education software also developed because of this technology. This software also can be developed that will be more helpful for friendly education. E-content in regional languages that will be developed. E-content will be developed in regional languages so that students can easily understand the e-content if they go through, because it is their language. Going to design in their language. Virtual labs provide to the students the results of an experiment and all that. National Education Technology Forum going to be established, NETF. And when you come to the online digital education, Swayam on One Nation, the Swayam portal is there. From that, you can, if any student wants to pursue any courses, also there are thousands of courses are there. Any student can just open the Swayam and has to fill up the application and can pursue any courses, whatever course he wants or requires, wish to do. He can do it according to the market requirement, according to the job requirement point of view. Whatever skills he requires, accordingly, he can choose the courses from Swayam and can complete it. So this is a wonderful opportunity and initiated by the government of India. The Swayam portal is there. You can check it, all of you, the participants. And the technology integration, teaching, learning, assessment. So once the technology is emerged and teaching, learning, assessment, we are all teaching now nowadays. Sometimes we should say, of course, this COVID is not at all good for the society, but because of the some negative, because it is created a lot of havoc on the in the society. But some people says that from negative you have to take the advantage. Advantage you should take when you are in a negative situations also. How to take the advantage out of it, we have to think. So now, because of this COVID, one way we have to say thanks to COVID, because we learned many things during this COVID, about online and all that, on online platforms we are using, and we are teaching to the students. Of course, because we are for the last 1.5 years only now, we are doing all these things. It takes some time to give good inputs to the students and all that, because in the beginning, some faculty may not equip with that, and training is very important, orientation is very important for them. But over a period of time, we, the faculty and institutions, should mentally ready to take the online teaching and learning process forward, right? Because the blended learning also is very important. Nowadays, we prefer sometimes we have to teach online, sometimes offline. So both club together, which is called as a blended learning. So that is very important. And content. So we the faculty and institutions are to be in a position to ready at any circumstances to face the challenges, because we have to take along with us. That is very important. Content creation digital responsibility, right? And you have teaching, learning, assessment, digital platforms, ICT-based education initiatives to be optimized and expanded. These are the days to come. Expansion is very, very important. Even rural areas also, people are unable to access the networking and all that has to be developed and all. And the digital platforms also expansion should be made, so that what happens, the rural areas people also can have the access of quality education for that. That is one thing. Expansion of existing e-learning platforms, Deksha, Swayam for equitable education. Everybody can get quality education. Equitable education should get everybody. It's not that there should not be any deviations, rich class and poor class. People are people. So everybody should get on par education. So that is why that access must be there. So this national education policy given a lot of priority for that by taking it very seriously. National education technology for NETF will be established in the process of this thing. And you have another important, the reduction in curriculum all stages, at all stages. Curriculum reduction nowadays, there are a lot of bags of books students are carrying from home to their schools, respective schools. So these are all curriculum with loaded the books and all that. So this is going to be reduced to the maximum possible extent. Experiential learning is going to take place. Because of that experiential learning, this vocational education enables the student to get experiential learning. So experiential learning is going to take place, it play a vital role in the days to come. Because of that, what happens is the curriculum, all stages going to be decreased, will be reduced to the according to the requirement only. Requirement and experiential learning will be taken into consideration. Greater priority will be given to that, and accordingly the curriculum will be reduced. That is one thing. 4 essentials. Curriculum in all subjects will be reduced. It's called essentials. Conceptualization, understanding is very, very important. So conceptualization is important. That has to be given a lot of priority. So that once a conceptualization is done to a student, then he can make a creative thinking. All this can be developed over a period of time. So the foundation is very important. No, foundation strong, then we can make a building. We can construct a building on the foundation. Your foundation is not perfect. You cannot the construct the building. Even if you construct, it will collapse during a period of time. So that is why for the strong base, what is important is conceptual understanding for the student is most important. So that conceptual understanding will create critical thinking, will give you critical thinking, analytical thinking, discovery orientation, holistic education is all possible with that. Interactive classes, interactive teaching with reducing dependence on textbooks learning. So textbooks learning will be reduced and experience interactive teaching. The teacher will be interactive with the student and will ask him, question him, and he will also question him. That is what is interactive session. Through interactive session, students can learn more, and it is the teacher also will be accessible to all the students, and it is a good the activity through that students can learn more. Similarly, we have curriculum pedagogy to be transformed by 2022 to promote skill based. So that is the skills are most important. So keeping in view the promotion of skills on that the curriculum and the pedagogy is going to be transformed and will be designed accordingly. That is one thing. And you have another important NEP outcome-based curriculum assessment higher education institutions. And you see, I'll go a little bit faster because I don't know we may running out of time. Many points are there, but you please bear with me for another few minutes. I'll try to complete as well as possible. Another 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Please bear with me. I'll try to complete. Because many points are there, we cannot skip. Because if we skip, something will be lacking. So that is why kindly bear with me and try to understand all these points. NEP and outcome-based curriculum and assessment in higher education. I'll go a little bit faster wherever it is easy. Learning outcome, what pedagogy to introduce, meeting society world. Assessment through what they learn, what student knows, what they can do. These are all very important that will be taken into consideration as far as assessment is concerned. Competencies will be tested. This is most important. Competencies it is not that question and answer examination. It is the competence, the competencies will be tested. Intellectual competencies will be tested through vocational education, whatever skills he acquired, that will be tested. Intellectual competencies, not only that, character competencies, ethics models also will be tested. Social competencies, relationship with the people, how a student is behaving with others, how he is maintaining the PRO, public relations and all that. This is most important in his in view of in the course of when you talk about holistic development of the student, these three competencies are very, very important. Then only holistic development, overall development that we talk today is happening. Otherwise, it is not possible. Any one if it is lacking, then the component one of the component is lacking, then you cannot expect the holistic development of the students or the person. At school level, community access such as with the professionals, occupations, and at college level, industry interface is very important. Nowadays, what we are lacking the college is industry interface is not there. Just in the four walls only the teaching, every time the teaching only within the four walls, and the students are not accessing the industry requirements, and then the industry interface is not at all there, and industry people will not come here, come to the education institution will not go to the industry. That is the thing. And how a student can be expected to the industry requirement. Right? This is the problem that we have. So that is why to reduce this gap, there's a gap between the education and employability. So that is to reduce this gap, what is happening, what is going to happen is the industry interface, society interface is very, very important. That is going to be taking place. Outcome-based inputs inculcated. Outcome-based, that's what I told in the previous slides also. Outcome-based education, which includes skills, competencies, and all that. Classroom teaching and ground level learning, experiential learning, that's what it. If you go to the ground level, we are taking to the students, the carpenters, the gardeners, and the potters. For what purpose? The ground level, they will see, if they see, they can understand. And we'll take to the farming also. The students will be taken to the farming. And there, how the farming and all that is going to take place, how the crops are producing, different crops are producing. These are all have to see, they have to check it, and they have to see with their naked eyes so that they can understand, and they will come out with the creative thinking and critical thinking and skills. So those skills will be tested. The assessment will be made on the skills they are acquired. That's what I told in the previous slides also. So cognitive skills, non-cognitive skills. When you talk about the skills, there are two things: think, read, learn, remember, and reason, and pay attention. Working together, these are all will come under cognitive skills. These will be tested, assessed. Non-cognitive skills as far as that, soft skills, motivation, integrity, and interpersonal interaction. These are all. And you have another important area which is very important. Parak means performance assessment review and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. So this is also a testing agency which is going to be established, and this will be tested the skills and the quality, skills and creativity of the student. This institution is meant for that. And you have higher education institution changes, autonomous affiliations. There are certain doubts in the higher education, the minds of higher educations, and even the students' point of view also. What are those? A quick look will give. What is that? Say, for example, here, A++. Autonomy will be provided to all the institutions, to all A++. A++ will be given to all the institutions. Means it's not that just will not give. They have to maintain the quality norms and all that. According to the guidelines, whoever is following the guidelines and accomplish the objectives, then they will be given autonomy. A++ category will be given, and they can take the curriculum on their own, and the curriculum autonomy will be given, and they can continue with that. So we have autonomy only 2% right now. So we have given the government of India and the state government, respective state governments are given only in India 2% only autonomy. Autonomy is given out of all education institutions today, the percentage wise. So a lot of autonomy is going to take place in the days to come. Autonomy is essential for institutions, and also financial autonomy also should be given, and these are all going to take place. All institutions and faculty will have the autonomy. That's what I told in the previous slide. Faculty should have the autonomy. Institution should have the autonomy. Students should have the autonomy. So then the free and flexibility will be there. far as curriculum is concerned, pedagogy is concerned, qualifications and all that, whatever qualification they require, that has to be possessed by the candidates. But the autonomy as far as faculty is concerned, institution is concerned, student is concerned, must be provided so that holistic development we can expect. Learner to have autonomy, faculty to have autonomy, institution to have autonomy. That's what it will. Affiliation system will be phasing out. Hereafter, in the coming 15 years, there will be no question of the affiliations and all that. Affiliations slowly will be removed. So no affiliations, nothing. Some colleges will be affiliated to so and so university. Now in the coming days, in the coming years, from now 15 years, the coming 15 years, this affiliation system in a phased manner it will be removed. Teaching intensive autonomous degree colleges and granting. That's what teaching intensive is allotted and entrusted to the colleges, autonomous colleges. That research will be given entrusted to the universities will be are concerned with the research activities and all that. National mission mentoring will be established. Mentoring council is also very important. I told you in the previous slide. So national mission mentoring will be established where all the senior people will be there in that time to time mentoring counseling. They will give, they will suggest, accordingly that will be implemented, because that is most important for the younger generations. Time to time proper directions should be given. So for that, this mission, the national mission, will provide all the inputs to the younger generations. Single regulatory for higher education. All higher education institutions, excluding medical, remaining all will come under one single regulatory for higher education will be there. Only all higher education will come under that. So that will monitor. What is that? Single regulatory for higher education. Legal and medical will be separate. That will not come under this. This is one thing. Next, you have higher education institutions changes. Certain changes in continuation to see. Say in place of inspections, only an online self-disclosure approval. Means institutions can fill the form and they have to whatever points are there, all those points they have to fill it and they have to submit. And the inspections for a period of time inspections will be conducted and they will check whatever points are mentioned in the application submitted by the institutions. They will check it physically and it will be approved. Approval will be given. So private philanthropic partnership also is going to in the time to come and take this PPP. There is common and before that common norm public and private higher education institutions. It's not that see the education when you want to develop. So government can only not cannot establish all the institutions. So private partnership is also very important. But private partnership when we talk about private partnership, the people generally will fear about the private partnership will commercialize education is going to be commercialized and all that. But it's not like that. Under the guidance of the government only, the private people, philanthropic people, they have to work. It's not that they do according to their will and wish. They have to follow the guidance of the government. So that is why private philanthropic partnership, private public partnership is compulsory. Whoever is interested in the higher education, really devoted to the higher education, philanthropy, they have to their help and support also will be taken by the government for implementing all these things in the higher education sector. Public investment in education sector, we have to reach 6% of GDP. We are planning to reach 6% minimum. We are going to spend by the government 6%. Earlier it was now existing around 3%. It is there from 3% to 6%. It is proposed to spend for education. Education sector in the GDP to take 6% of GDP. So internalization of education. Foreign universities, I told you, will be allowed, and our universities also can establish campus in other countries so that our students can retain here only and they will pursue their foreign degrees from sitting in the country. There's no need to travel all the way to other countries also because of the opening of the foreign universities. 100 universities, I told you, 100 reputed universities will be given permission to open their campuses in our country. That is framed in the national education policy. Special educational zones also will be established. This is for regional remote people will be there. They also have to access the education. How? So that is for them, special educational zones also established are proposed. So these educational zones under this, The special equipment will be given, online and all that will be given, and the education will be provided to the remote people also. So in that way, inclusive education, that is what it is possible through special education zone for disadvantaged regions. Similarly, we have national education technology forum also going to be in the process of implementation. MHRD already it is renamed Ministry of Education today that we have. And again, you have higher education entry for universities, higher for the universities. When you see, I'll go a little bit faster. World top 100 universities, that's what I told you, is going to be given permission. Universalization of education by collaborating student groups, projects, cooperation. These are all student groups and collaboration from other countries, from this country, students collaboration. Then the universalization of education is possible. So that is why the cooperation and teamwork and project works and all in collaboration, it is happening. Even curriculum also will be sharing from that country to this country. Mixed curriculum will be there, so that it will be advantage. Even the student go to that country for employment, or in this country he can get the employment without any problem. And that country cannot say that your country degree is not eligible, or country degree because you don't study, you are not according to our country. Like that, nobody can, because their campus also established here, and their curriculum also included in our curriculum. So combined curriculum. So that is why the candidate is now competent in the India and other countries also. So in that way, it is most very important aspect. Dual degree proposals help students to acquire foreign requirements. Staying in India also they can pursue. That's what I explained. Foreign currency will be saved. That's what I told you. Foreign currency, because they are no need to travel all the way from this country and that country. So foreign currency will be saved. 2 lakhs students every year, if you see, they are going abroad for higher education. That can be stopped if they open universities, foreign universities in our country. So how much foreign currency we can save? It's not a small thing. So that will help India's development. So cost of education, high tuition fees. Of course, there are certain doubts to the people. Educational cost, education will become more costly, and high tuition fees will increase like that. Of course, when you are implementing, expecting the quality education, some education, maybe tuition fees and all that, a bit, definitely they will charge more and all that, because we want to join our students, our children in a good institution for quality of education and all that. When you think about it, the fees and all that, a bit, but under control of the government only. It will be, the fee structure will be under the control of the government. They will decide, and they accordingly, people have to meet those expenditure. To attract good professors, high salary has to be given. Quality, when you talk about quality teachers, faculty should compulsory should be there. So they have to, if it is possible, if it is required, you have to get them from other countries also in this country for giving good inputs. It is possible with the professors, good professors. Wherever they are, you have to bring them, and we have to ask them to teach our students. So that is possible. Then definitely higher salaries we have to need to pay. They're all education expenditure will be more and more on that case. So similarly, we have research, teaching, collaborations, students exchanging high quality foreign institutions. These are all possible. These are all will be over a period of time. Collaborations and all that will take place. Similarly, next you have another important new education policy research. When you come to the research areas, higher education, we are crossing the time. I will complete within 5 to 10 minutes. Please bear with me, because we cannot skip all those points. So higher education institutions, status of research. When you see insufficient funds, limited resources, as of now we are facing inappropriate research policies, also not appropriate, not up to the mark. These are all going to be changed. And you have the quality and the team of research matters. Quality and the team also very important. Teamwork is also very important for accomplishing the quality research. Lack of seriousness. Another important lacking that we have today is for commercial research also, unfortunately brought into the commercial touch. So that is why research also is not real research is very microscopic today. Nowadays it is happening like that. Commercial elements has taken place in even original research also. So lack of support and congenial environment is lacking. and around 2.5 lakhs full-time researchers in India every year that we can see. Only 14% are women researchers. So priority should be given to the women, because it's only very less, 14% of women researchers means the priority should be given, should be improved to the women researchers. They conduct, the funds are also should be allocated more to the women researchers to encourage them, so that what happens, good research inputs will come out, and that will be helpful. And 30,000 PhDs approximately every year from Indian universities produced. From Indian universities, 30,000 PhDs are produced approximately. So, but all these PhDs, whether policy implementation, as far as policy implementation is concerned, whether we have to check on these things. Similarly, next you have another important point: new education policy and research in continuation. Higher education institutions and status of research. When you see some statistics, I'll give you 60% of the social sciences, humanities are grabbing the funds, but only 60% of social sciences and humanities and 40% from sciences. More than 76% of the grants. These are all education institutions I'm talking about. And as far as funds are talking about, more than 76% of the grants are consumed by the IITs, IIMs, central universities. As per the AIU study 2009, 76% of the funds are consuming by these IITs, IIMs, and central. Remaining 24% only the higher education institutions, colleges, universities are. That means you can understand how much less priority, funds point of view, how much less priority is given from the universities and the colleges, affiliated colleges and all that. So that has to be improved. And now under the research NRF, all institutions now the funding is put together, and NRF is established and going to take place in the next slide. And NRF is proposed. Under that NRF, all institutions, whether IIT, IIM, or college or university, whatever it is, the education, all institutions will get equal funding as far as research is concerned in the days to come. That is going to happen. So only 0.79% of the students are enrolled for PhD in higher education. Only just not even 1%. Why? What is the reason for that? Why the people are not registering their names for PhDs? Whoever is completed post graduations, that is very important. That means research, you can understand how lagging behind. That we have to understand. So that has to be improved. USA is spending on R&D, followed by Japan and China. Right? Germany, France, UK are spending huge funds in European countries. Among big nations are there. China is spending 1.5% of its GDP on R&D, whereas in India only 0.69%. USA is spending 2.8%, Israel 4.3%, South Korea 4.2%. See these statistics. Next, you have another important aspect: new educational policy research. When you see new education policy, undertaking a PhD shall require either master's degree or a 4-year bachelor's degree. That already I explained you. Every research scholar should complete one of the BEd teaching modules compulsory. The PhD student hereafter he has to complete. Then only they will award it PhD. So PhD student to get exposure in pedagogical practices, designing curriculum, compulsory he has to take the teaching assignment also, right? And PhD student should have minimum number of hours of teaching. That's one very important. Then only he will be awarded the PhD degree. And all. Promotion of research ecosystem is very important. Promote ecosystem environment is very important. Education spirit of inquiry initiative, right? University research is linkage for national development. Experienced and dedicated supervisory team is also lacking nowadays. That has to be supervisory team has to be improved, increased. Qualified people, qualified supervisors should be improved, increased in the universities for conducting guiding the students, PhD students. Adequate research infrastructure in universities should be provided. Labs, libraries, these are all very important for research. Has to be provided. Generous research funding is also very important. I told you already, funding should be generous funding should be given for research to promote the research activities. Universities, industry, society tie-up is very important as far as research is concerned. Interface is very important. And next you have promotion of research ecosystem in continuation. University research organizations interaction. Multidisciplinary education, university, various already told you the previous slides, attain higher highest standards of the multidisciplinary education across India is going to be under Meru, is going to be established. Gender inclusive fund, inclusive of women and transgenders, a separate fund is going to be established. Gender inclusive fund, that is what we call. And next you have National Research Foundation. That's what I told in the previous slide. NRF is going to be established under that. All these agencies, UGC, ICSSR, all these agencies will come under one umbrella. That is what we call NRF. Under that, it's not that UGC will not go and will go. Some people say that UGC will not be available from a year after. ICSSR will not go to NRF. It's not like that. All the institutions, whatever existing institutions are there, will be there, but under the umbrella of the NRF. That is what. But under the umbrella of NRF, what happens? The funds, research funds will be divided equally to all the institutions, whether it is IIM or IIT or university or the affiliate college institution, whatever it is. The research grants will be given equally. That is what is important. Next, you have another important aspect in continuation of the National Research Foundation initiatives to seed and grow research, state universities and other public institutions where research capabilities are currently limited. So private universities, the state universities will be given priority for to have the research activities. Successful research will be recognized. Definitely recognition should be given. Whoever has conducted good research studies, that will be taken into consideration. The policy implementations also will be done from that. So that is going to happen. Research findings will implement through. That's what I told you. Governmental agencies, wherever it is necessary, that will be implemented. The research findings of